And the reason why, to quote the MC from Cabaret, is money, 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 money. Oh my god, hey! Welcome back to my Stagey YouTube channel. If you're seeing my face for the first time, my name is Mickey Joe and I am obsessed with all things theatre. Now, I have come on here today to talk about the Wicked movie, which on the one hand, very excited for, and on the other hand, I will believe it when I see it. Literally, when I am in the cinema seeing the Wicked movie with my eyes, only then will I believe it's actually happening, because this has been going on for 10 million years. Seriously, like if you're only a fairly recent Wicked fan, you may not know this, but the Wicked movie as a concept has been teased and talked about and confirmed and unconfirmed and had different directors attached to it for so long. If you look at the trajectories of recent successful Broadway shows then being turned into films like Dear Evan Hansen, like The Prom, Wicked came out and premiered on Broadway in 2003, and we are only now, in 2022, actually getting somewhere in terms of adapting this for film. Like, this has taken a long time. But, allegedly, a Wicked movie is now actually happening. John M. Chu of Crazy Rich Asians and notably of In the Heights is currently attached to direct, which is exciting news because I really liked what he did on In the Heights from a storyboarding perspective, from how faithful he was to the original show while making the necessary changes for film, and just visually, aesthetically, in terms of his cinematography, I thought it was some really compelling, really exciting work that unfortunately didn't get the praise it deserved because it was in a year of really great movie musicals like Tick, Tick, Boom and West Side Story. Currently attached to star in the Wicked movie, if you haven't already heard this news, is Cynthia Erivo, starring as Elphaba. Cynthia is a British musical theatre star that I first saw when she was touring the UK in Sister Act as Dolores Van Cartier. She then starred in a revival of The Colour Purple over here at the Menier Chocolate Factory, which transferred to Broadway, won her a Tony Award, and she has been appearing on screen ever since. She's one of these great successful musical theatre people who gets paid a lot of money to go and do film and TV work and unfortunately never comes back. But my feelings about her casting are that I'm really excited for it. A, for Cynthia Erivo to be getting a big break on film. B, for Elphaba to be portrayed on screen by a Tony Award-winning musical theatre trained actress. And C, for a person of colour to be portraying Elphaba, because so much of her story about the colour of her skin othering her from society resonates with the real issues that we have, I was going to say in this country, in all the countries worldwide, to do with racism. Possibly even bigger news is that Glinda will be played by Ariana Grande. Whether this is to kind of mitigate the fact that Cynthia Erivo is not as much of a household name and they want to really sell this film with a big star in the lead, or whether it's because she gave a really great audition. You know, she has a musical theatre background, even if she hasn't sung in a legit way for a very, 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 very long time. Ariana Grande will be playing Glinda, which is this whole lifelong dream role of hers, so I'm very happy for her. And I am willing to be impressed. Like I said, she has this musical theatre background. She grew up starring in Jason Robert Brown shows on Broadway. We have heard her sing in a more legit way before. There are recordings out there, but in the years since that, her diction and her projection and a lot of things about her technique are not what I would associate with a really great Glinda performance, nor particularly as her comic timing from having seen her do things like Hairspray Live. That being said, I enjoyed when she hosted Saturday Night Live and she was funny enough on that. But Glinda is this really great role. I think Kristen Chenoweth made it look easy in the original productions, and a lot of great actresses have since. But Glinda has to do so much in terms of comedy, in terms of giving you drama, and the vocal demand, my gosh. So that is everything we know so far about the Wicked movie, except for the fact that they've now revealed a logo that looks questionable. I think everyone was always going to react a certain way to the logo because it's just different from what we know, it's different from the stage production, but I am not a super huge fan of this logo, if only because I keep associating it with the revamped Hogwarts house logos that they did for the stage production Harry Potter and the Cursed Child, where they made the logos for Gryffindor and Slytherin and Hufflepuff and Ravenclaw look different enough from the film versions. That is what the W Wicked logo is giving me. It's giving me Whiffendor. And there is one more thing we know about the Wicked movie, which is what I'm going to be talking about today. So, we have been told that the Wicked movie is going to be delivered to us in 2 parts, which is a choice. Now, when this was announced, I don't think I was as against this as a lot of people were. And I do understand some of the concern. I think a lot of people are anxious because it's taken so long for Wicked to get to the screen and because its journey has been so fraught and it's been happening so many times and then it's disappeared and directors have been attached and then they've left the project. It seems like if we run the risk of delivering a Wicked movie part 1, that the Wicked movie part 2 may never happen, especially if part 1 does not perform well in cinemas. Which is something that we have seen happen with other franchises. You know, you make the first film adaptation, audiences don't really pick it up, and the subsequent stories in that franchise are never adapted for film. Anyone remember Eragon, the books with the dragon? That happened. And it's always super awkward when a film teases a sequel at the end that never happened. So I get the concern that we're gonna have a Wicked movie part 1 that finishes with Defying Gravity, and we just never see the Wicked movie part 2. Unless, of course, they are filming them both at the same time and they just release them regardless of how well they perform. I mean, hopefully they perform well, because this is Wicked. This is not some niche musical that not everyone has heard of. Wicked has broad audience appeal. This is something that people across the country know and recognize as musical and has a really big fan base. When you talk to people, when you talk to a certain demographic, teenage girls, about musical theatre, everyone still knows what Wicked is. If I do have one concern, it's that we've had a lot of alternative Wizard of Oz films that haven't necessarily caught fire at the box office. I'm thinking, like, was it The Wonderful Wizard of Oz? Was that the film adaptation with Mila Kunis and James Franco? I never saw that, but I don't remember there being as much buzz about it as I think the studio wanted for there to be. Now, recently, Stephen Schwartz has commented publicly that the reason they are splitting the film into 2 parts is because they struggled to find anything that was going to follow Defying Gravity. And this kind of reveals to us or implies that the first film is going to end with Defying Gravity, as you would expect for it to. You know, it's taking the classic 2-act structure of the stage show that we know and just putting that into 2 separate films. And I get that to an extent, but at the same time, a lot of other movie musicals have circumnavigated this problem. Tom Hooper directing Les Mis had One Day More to contend with. I mean, what is a bigger, more dramatic Act 1 finale than One Day More? He found a way to rework that. He moved On My Own in front of One Day More and had it go straight into a fight sequence. Also, John M. Chu himself has dealt with this problem in The Heights. In The Heights, Act 1 ends with this really big button with fireworks. He kind of diminished it, faded it out, and again, moved a song. He put Paciencia y Fe after the fireworks blackout sequence so that it could flow into that seamlessly and kind of ebb and flow us through the tone of the film with these big moments that then sort of fade into quieter ones. My whole point here is that a good enough director would be able to get through this. If longer shows like Les Mis can be adapted as a single film, then Wicked should not have this problem. And also, I'm not nearly as much of a cinemaphile as I am a theatre geek, but I feel like films don't have to be all 100 all the time. If we really ramp up the tension and the drama and the theatrics with Defying Gravity, we can go to something quieter and something softer and something smaller afterwards. It doesn't have to keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger cumulatively throughout the film. That's not enjoyment, that's just stress. Honestly, that sounds more like an elaborate torture method than a film. And the consequence of this is that we're going to get a really interesting first Wicked film, because I feel like all of the most interesting plot exploration and character development happens in that first act. You have the backstory, you have the introduction of Elphaba and Glinda, you have their blossoming friendship, you have a lot of change in the 2 characters, you have the introduction of Fiyero and how he changes their dynamic. You then see a change in him as well. Like, all of the characters go through a lot of development in that first act. We even get the revelation about the wizard and all of the things going on there. In the second act, there's really not that much more to give away. The second act of Wicked is all just sort of tying up the loose ends to lead the characters into the Wizard of Oz, to explain how we got to these points. Here is how the Tin Man happened, here is what went on with the lion. Teasing little bits of Dorothy so that it all makes sense and the 2 stories tie together. But in terms of actual plot and character development, there is significantly less in the second act than there is in the first. And I feel like if you were to list the memorable songs of Wicked, you're going to list a lot of the first act songs before you remember some more of the second act songs. I mean, I love a no good deed moment, I really do. And I am actually in the camp that enjoys Thank Goodness, if only because of a Glinda who can belt "Bridges you crossed, you didn't know you crossed until you crossed." Love that bit, love that for me. But then you've also got Wonderful and like, And then a lot of songs that aren't even on the cast recording, which aren't necessarily bad songs, they're just not nearly as iconic, like Nessa Rose's entire number, The Wicked Witch of the East. And you've got As Long As You're Mine, and you've got For Good, but it's just a lot of downers, which works in an act 2 of a musical because you've had the exciting first act and they are paired to each other, but it's very strange to think of going somewhere to just watch a second act. Now, Stephen Schwartz has said that he is writing new material for the film. Hopefully there will be some more to pad this second act. Whether we will do more sort of backstory, flashing back to the past within the context of that to inform other parts of these characters' journeys in the second act, I don't know. And there's some really interesting exploration you could do. There's some really interesting dramatic moments. Glinda finally understanding what Elphaba and Fiero's relationship is, that's a really interesting moment to explore, as is her whole reprisal of Madame Morrible and the Wizard at the end of the show. You can make an awful lot out of the rise of Glinda in that second act of the show, in what will be the second Wicked film. But at the same time, when I think of other movie musicals that have been able to adapt well for screen, the best ones have been fairly ruthless in what they have cut that doesn't work from the stage show. I'm concerned that we're going to retain everything and add in more, and it feels a little bit like a cash grab. I feel like this needs to be said, that if they're making 2 films, it seems like they're maybe just looking at the opportunity to make more money out of the franchise. We've also seen this happen before. When Lord of the Rings was very successful, they decided to adapt The Hobbit, a shorter book, into 3 films. And the reason why, to quote the MC from Cabaret, is money, 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 money. And Wicked is discernibly a bigger deal than a lot of the shows that have been adapted for film recently. Wicked is a bigger name than Dear Evan Hansen, than The Prom, than In the Heights even. Wicked is one of the really big musicals on Broadway and in the West End in terms of worldwide recognition. So why wouldn't they take the opportunity to make as much money as possible? You're making the Wicked movie with Ariana Grande starring. You can guarantee already there are like 2 built-in fan bases in the middle of this Venn diagram of Ariana Grande fans and Wicked fans that I assume were always reasonably close together. All of the gays are either on one side of that or the other. Most of them are in the middle. Why would you not take the opportunity to milk that green cash cow for as much green money as it's worth? I mean, they're American, so all their money is green. But you can understand how they arrived at that decision. Does this mean this is the best decision creatively? I don't know. However, I do still put a lot of faith in John M. Chu. I was really pleased with what he did within the Heights. I am trusting him that he is going to be diligent and responsible as a filmmaker here and not just give in to studio demands about how this film needs to be made to make as much money as possible. Hopefully we will still get a really good product, or 2 really good products. But I'm very intrigued to see what happens. And I'm also very intrigued to know all of your thoughts. Let me know what you think about the new 2-film structure of the planned Wicked movie. Do you think this is a good idea? Do you have any kind of concerns? Do you have any thoughts that I haven't already mentioned in this video? If you do, make sure to share them in the comments section down below and let us all know what you think. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, make sure to subscribe to my Stagey YouTube channel for plenty more content about all your favorite shows and movie musicals coming very soon. Also, if you did enjoy this video, there's a new feature on YouTube where you can give me a little super thanks down below. That would really help me as a Stagey content creator to bring you even more content than I already do. And if you would like, you can support me as a Stagey content creator by heading over to patreon.com/MickeyJoeTheatre and joining my Patreon to gain access to some exclusive photo and video content. I hope that everyone is staying safe and that you have a Stagey day.
For 10 more seconds, I'm Mickey Joe Theatre. Oh my god, hey. Thanks for watching, have a Stagey day. Subscribe!